I'm continuing in the series that I started way back, just going through our family pledge, which Father Moon has emphasized. This is the core bone of our unificationist worldview, and really should be at the root of our lifestyle. So let me read this. This is from Father Moon. The lessons we learn from family pledge come from universal cosmic principles, not from any form of individualism. We must face the various hardships that befall us in our lives. We need to boldly break through our circumstances and gain victory. To do this, we need to strengthen our families with the tradition of the family pledge. So, as I repeat every time, just all of the 8 pledges that we make in Family Pledge have these core components. Every one of them starts off with our family, the owner of Cheon Il Guk, pledges to, and then whatever we're pledging to, by centering on true love. And this is such a powerful foundation for anything that we do. Started with our family. It's a team sport, right? It's not us doing it alone. It's as a family. As the owners, the ones that are responsible, not the renters, not the tenants, but the ones who actually own and are responsible for Cheon Il Guk, Cheon Il Guk being our Korean term for the heavenly kingdom. We pledge, we're pledging, we're making a determination, we're making a promise to do whatever it is, but all of this is centered on true love, on God's true love. So one way of rephrasing it, for all of these pledges, basically our family is the ones responsible for heaven on earth, prayerfully promise and commit through the power and guidance of God's true love to fulfill each of these tasks. So, powerful declaration for any mission, but especially we're talking about the purpose of our lives and the purpose of our families. So here's a quick Cliff Notes version of the pledges that we've already gone through so far. So the affirmation number 1 is to seek our original homeland and build God's ideal of creation. So really building God's kingdom, building it, right, is the key word there. Not waiting for it to happen, but there we're going to build it, and we're going to seek it out, and we're going to build it. And second is to live for a higher purpose, to represent and perfect the dutiful family way at every level in our life, in our family, in the society, in the world, and even in the cosmos. And then number 3 is perfecting a true family. And we'll do that by perfecting the 4 different realms of heart. Parents' love for children, children's love for parents, brothers and sisters' love, and husband and wife love. The 4 realms of heart. And doing that through 3 generations, called the 3 great kingships, grandparents, parents, and grandchildren. And then all of this being connected to true parents' royal lineage and the change of blood lineage through the blessing of marriage. Number 4 is building universal family and world peace. So this is, and we spent a couple of weeks on that because, boy, there's a lot to building that ideal universal family, and there's a lot to creating a world of true happiness, peace, and fulfillment. So today, I'm just going to touch on building putting the spiritual over the physical. Actually, talking about spirit world is always lots of fun. Of course, sometimes it sends people to the spirit world, as I see people agreeing with me. But no sleeping, okay? Wake up, everyone. We're going to talk about the spirit world, so don't let any strange spirits come and chase you away, okay? Keep your focus here. So, pledge number 5, like all of them, it starts out with our family, the owner of Cheon Il Guk, pledges, and it focuses on to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners. And of course, as all of them ends up with, by centering on true love. So, the spiritual world and the physical world. It's such an amazing design of God's universe. Now, the spirit world is what we talk about when we talk about the eternal life. It's invisible to us, but it's eternal and that spiritual realm. And the physical world is temporary. I mean, we're only here on this plane for a certain amount of time. The physical world, everything ends. And it's visible. So the spiritual world and the physical world. Here's some verses from the New Testament. This is from Paul in 2 Corinthians 5:1. He says, "For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is restored," meaning our bodies, right? "We have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands." So the eternal spiritual world is always there for us. And then also in Corinthians, the 1 Corinthians 15th chapter, "It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body." There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. So we're all born in a natural physical body. And we grow up and we raise up our spirit and our spiritual bodies. That's one of the great purposes of our lives. So it's amazing. You know, there's a spiritual world and the physical world. Well, also for us as individuals, we also have a spiritual self that's invisible and eternal, and a physical self which is visible and substantial for some of us, and lasting only a temporary time in our lives. So this is invisible, eternal, visible, temporary. Also, sometimes in unification language, we talk about the internal invisible and the external visible form. So here's also another quote. This is from Colossians, the 1st chapter. "For by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him." Now this becomes very interesting. Let's look at the divine principle here. This is from the principle of creation. "The universe was created after the pattern of a human being, corresponding to the human mind and body. The universe consists of an incorporeal world and the corporeal world, both of which are real and substantial." So incorporeal, fancy word for nobody, or spiritual, the spirit world. I'll call it the spirit world. And the corporeal world means body, meaning the actual, the physical world. The amazing thing about that is usually we think, oh yeah, the universe came to creation and all that. But what the principle says, and Father and Mother Moon emphasized to us over and over, is that the design of the universe was planned on God's design for us. The way God designed us. The whole universe reflects us. We're microcosms of the entire cosmos. It's quite incredible. So starting from God created human beings with the invisible, we'll call it the mind, and the visible, the body. You know, so all of us are made up of the invisible spiritual side, our spirit self, our mind, and the physical body. But corresponding to that, the whole universe is created with the internal, invisible, incorporeal spiritual world and the visible, corporal, physical world. This is quite incredible. And then when you think about it, at the center of all this are human beings. God designed us to be the mediators. We're the only beings that cross both realms. So angels exist in the spiritual world, but they don't exist in the physical world. And animals and plants like that, they exist in the physical world, but they don't exist in the eternal spiritual world. Not in the same way as human beings. So as human beings, we stand in that middle position. We're the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. So, again, the incorporeal world is so called because we cannot perceive it through our 5 physical senses. Yet we can perceive it through our 5 spiritual senses. Now, this is also pretty interesting, and downright exciting. If you think about it, we know what our 5 physical senses are, right? Right? Sight, smell, taste, hearing. Hope all of you are hearing really well. And the last one, what's the last one? Touching, right. So those are the 5 physical senses, right? We know in the physical world. Well, what the principle is saying, what Father Moon were emphasizing to us, is that we also have 5 spiritual senses. Those same senses, spiritual sight and vision, spiritual sound and hearing, taste and touch and smell. All these things, it makes sense. This is God's design for the universe and design for us. So, the amazing thing is that we as human beings are at the center of the whole cosmos, of the spiritual world and the physical world. So we're that microcosm. So in Family Pledge number 5, what we're doing is we're the only beings who can unify the spiritual world and the physical world. So this is what we're emphasizing in Family Pledge, we are the ones of all things that God created that can unify the spiritual world and the physical world. Now, the next section of that brings up some language that is not so common in our more normal American English, right? As subject and object partners. So this is actually a very important concept in our unificationist worldview, because we see everything as existing in relationship. Everything. From the atoms, they exist not because they're a solid chunk of something, but because of the relationship between the electron and proton. It's amazing. When I first heard this when I was young, and elementary physics. Oh, did you know that this isn't really a solid object? That actually there's more space there than there is solid. In fact, we don't even know if there's anything in existence that's solid, because everything is about relationships. Because of the relationship, those protons and the neutrons, between the relationship between different atoms, things actually have substance. But it's not because there's not a whole lot of empty space there. It's quite interesting. But the design of this universe is all about relationship. So to understand the relationship, we see that every relationship has a subject and an object. So subject means the initiator. It's the ones that's starting. Sometimes it's called positive and negative. Sometimes it's the internal. But the subject is what starts things. And the object is what receives things and responds. So you can get the idea. Without there being an object of something, there can't be a subject. So, without atoms interacting with each other, there can't be molecules. Without a receiver, there can't be a giver. I may have all this kind of stuff that I want to give. I want to give. But there's no one to receive it. I'm not a giver. Right? I'm a holder. I'm holding on to it until I have someone that I can give it to. There's no husbands without a wife. There's no wives without a husband. There's no parents without children. Right? There's no teacher without students. So everything, this subject and object partner, we need this partnership. This is the design of the universe. It's amazing. Now, the beautiful thing that the principle does, that Father and Mother Moon, through their communication, a relationship with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit and so many saints, come to emphasize it's not just the subject and the object. It's a partnership. So the subject partner and the object partner. So the emphasis here is that there's teamwork. There's a partnership going in everything. If it's going to work well, it needs to be a partnership. If you want to have a good classroom, if you're the teacher, you can be the boss all you want. But if your students don't listen, right, and they don't respond, you don't have success. So it's a partnership. It's a partnership to give and take through this interaction. So for us as human beings, bringing it down to just me, the subject partner in my life is my spirit self, my mind. And the object partner in this relationship is my physical body. Oftentimes we forget that it's a partnership. But God designed us in this amazing way that the mind should be leading us, right? The mind tells us, oh, yeah, don't go there, it's a bad idea. And the body goes, okay, and goes the right way, right? It's a partnership working together. Now, the amazing thing about this is this: God's design of the entire universe is like that. The spiritual world is designed to be the leader, the subject partner. And the physical world is meant to be the ones that respond. So if we think about the internal spirit world, about our mind, these are some of the qualities. In the spiritual world, it's the invisible stuff, the internal stuff. Love, truth, beauty, goodness. Also a focus on other people. The physical world, my body, has a focus on survival. Right? My body's out to survive. That's the main mission of my body, is to survive. You know, sex, food, sleep. It's all focused on the self. Now, the thing is, in partnership, this is fine. This is good. In Divine Principle, we talk about we all have the dual purposes. Purpose for the individual and purpose for the whole. And they're complementary. They work together. So I have to keep myself healthy and strong so that I can do more for others. But they need to be in partnership. The problem is, in the fallen world, is that the physical body, my selfishness, my survival, dominates my desire for truth, beauty, and goodness. This is, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but St. Paul had the same problem. Okay, in Romans, this is the 7th chapter. I take delight in the law of God in my inner self, but I see in my members another principle, at war with the law of my mind, taking me captive to the law of sin that dwells in my members. I myself, with my mind, serve the law of God, but with my flesh, my body, the law of sin. So this struggle between mind and body, it's historic. It's everywhere in our lives. We're always wrestling with this, and Paul points it out here. The hope, the beginning of Family Pledge, you know, we're about unifying the spiritual world and the physical world as subject and object partners in this partnership between the spiritual world and the physical world, between my mind and my body. But it starts out, because this is not an easy thing to do, we're promising to strive every day. So it's not like I'm just going to sit around and it's going to happen. I have to make effort. And I have to make that effort every day to strive to unite my mind and my body, the spiritual and the physical. The key to success here, though, is in the final phrase. To strive every day to unify my mind and body, you know, as subject and object partners, centering on true love. True love is where we genuinely have the power to create real unity between my mind and my body, the spiritual world and the physical. It all has to be centered on true love. You know, with my mind, I'm seeking out love. I'm seeking out beauty, truth, and goodness, the public, the whole purpose. With my body, I'm seeking to survive, you know, be comfortable, for sex, for food, for sleep, you know, my individual, my private purpose. Now, the thing is, those private, selfish purposes, they're only a problem if they dominate our higher purpose, our search for love, truth, and goodness. This is where it's a problem. Because we're supposed to survive. We're supposed to be healthy and have a good life. It just needs to be in the proper relationship. Harmony between our mind and the goals of our mind and our body. The key here is that we can bring these into unity centered on the power of true love. A good example is parents and children. If I'm going to bring unity with my kids and between parent and child, I can force them to do a lot of things, right? Tie them up, lock them in their room, make them do exactly what I want them to do. But as soon as I take that away, are they going to keep doing it? Not likely. Not likely. There's certain self-control that we want to do. But where real success, where real unity comes, is when, because our children experience and feel loved, they know without a doubt they're loved. It's a lot easier to take the medicine, right? Okay, I know I shouldn't have done this. I should do this instead. In fact, the stronger the bond of love becomes, the easier, the more natural it is to be obedient. We sometimes talk about, faith, love, and obedience. Obedience is the last thing. The first thing is faith and love. When there's love, that creates harmony. So this ideal of striving every day, to unite the physical world and the spiritual world as subject and object partners, it only can happen successfully with love. When we put love in that. And the key there is our connection to God as our Heavenly Parent. The more deeply we can experience and recognize and experience God in our lives, the more powerful our ability to unite our mind and body. Because when the body is connected and feels loved and sees, this is how I'm going to fulfill the greatest purpose in my life, then the body is a natural partner to work with us. In fact, the body sometimes gives us, our mind, good advice. I got something going on with my right foot. You better pay attention to that. Fix it. It'll give us more and more warning. Now, I'm hungry. My body says, I'm hungry. I'm starving. I'm going to die if I don't eat something. Well, if there's love here, and it says, I know you're hungry, but hold on just a little bit more. And so we can finish what we're doing. Okay. With that kind of love, the body goes, okay, but don't forget I'm hungry. Just like parents and children, right? And lots of relationships. When love is there, unity naturally can come. The object partner is happy to unite with and follow the leader, whoever's leading. So the key to all of these pledges that we're making is that everything needs to be done centered on true love. That power of love is what really brings success, healing, and victory. So just summarize it and put it in practical terms. And in family pledge number 5, we're striving daily to control our thoughts. Our thoughts oftentimes will lead us all over the place, right? And if once we start going down the one road with thoughts, then our body will follow. So if we set clear goals, when we focus our mind and heart in a direction, then the body is easier for them to unite. And also, when we're clear and making a strong internal foundation, we also unite the spiritual world because they are happy to come and join and work with us. To the degree that we're living by our conscience, living to fulfill the highest possible purpose, living for the sake of others, then our body is happy to be a participant and even willing to sacrifice and suffer because the body can feel that this is for something really valuable and worthwhile and living our lives and making a difference in service to others. So let me close with this from Father Moon. There's no content in the family pledge other than love. Love is the fundamental pillar supporting the kingdom of heaven on earth. It is the basic formula for creating the kingdom of heaven on earth. So join with me and let's read family pledge number 5 together. Okay? Our family, the owner of Cheon Il Guk, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love. I do? I do. Okay, please join me in prayer. Father, Mother God, our loving Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for the way that you're working in our lives, your guidance, your heart, and especially, Heavenly Parent, that we can know and experience your love in our lives, that we can fulfill as the sons and daughters that you designed us to be people who can make a positive difference in the world, that together our mind and body can unite to fulfill and bring comfort and joy to you, to bring healing in this world around us. Heavenly Parent, we're thankful for the way that you continue to guide us through even the difficulties and the challenges that we experience in our life. We offer our hearts again gratefully to you, determined to be those victors who do bring together the spiritual world and the physical world as subject and object partners centered on your true and perfect love. So, Heavenly Parent, we thank you and offer up our prayer and ourselves again to you, together as blessed central families. Amen and adieu.